Today's agenda, we're first going to go about what is the BBPA, which is Black Business Professional Association, and about the National Scholarship Program. And then we're going to cover the scholarship application calendar. And then we'll talk about how to apply. And then we'll talk more about awards and payments. Let me put this in full screen so you guys can see better. Okay. So we're just going to talk about the BBPA in a brief little intro. So the Black Business and Professional Association, BBPA, was founded in 1983. It is a registered charity under the Canada Nonprofit Corporations Act, which is the NFP Act. It aims for more complete role for the Black community within a larger Canadian society. So our goal is greater equity, professional opportunities, and economic empowerment. We have focus of programs where a little bit more on the business side, employment, education, and economic development. So these are our two long-term marquee efforts. We have the Harry Jerome Awards and the National Scholarship Programs. There are both different activities that are run, but we have both been running them between 39 to 36 years respectively. So we're going to talk about the NSP in a brief. So the scholarship granted for 35 years running, now going into our 36th year. The total scholarships to date is in excess of 1,500. Funds donated to this date is just over 5 million. So we offer standard scholarships plus 3 reserve categories. We have the specialty, skilled trades, the LGBTQ, and then the single mothers, and then we have the donor mandated categories, sorry. And then we also have the future leaders, which is, it stands out in special fields. And then we have the BBPA named or the BBPA legacy in honor of distinguished donors. The NSP Scholarship Administration. So there's 3 general categories of activity. A, the submission, evaluation, and awarding of scholarships. B, program oversight, administration, and strategic advancement of program objectives. And C, the event part. So that's the award ceremony, which recognizes the awards. The applicant information package applies to A and C only. So for the 2021 NSP application calendar, so this is just a brief calendar of the whole program that's going to be facilitated for 2021. So we have on April 24th, the notification of 2021 scholarships. On May 17th, we had the application open towards whoever was interested, to students or whoever. And July 10th, we had the application closing date. So you have till the May 7th and July 10th to actually put in your application and submit. And then on June 16th and June 30th, which is the next upcoming town hall, and then the July 7th is our last town hall meeting. So today's our first town hall meeting, as you can see. And we have July and August for application reviews and selections. So the whole month of July and whole month of August, I believe. And end of September is the finalized list of awardees. So once we have reviewed all applications, then they're going to have a finalized list. for who would be receiving those scholarships. And then we have September to October, which is the disbursements of the funds towards the awardees. And in October is like the final award ceremony. Let's hope by then we can meet in person. So what we have now is an old system design, but there's a new application requirements. We are in a period of kind of transitioning between old and new. So we kind of want to inform you of how things will be run this year as compared to other years now, as we're still kind of in transitioning from our old system to the newer one.
So now this is where you give it over to me.
All right, so yeah, there you go. So I'm gonna hand it over to Ed. He's gonna talk about more in depth of the whole application.
Okay, so just maybe back up one slide.
Yeah,
to the previous one, and I'll ask you to turn for me, please, if you don't mind. I will just go with what you have. No, not this one. Go back to the old versus new.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rusi, Adiola, and Sydney, I really would appreciate if you guys would give me some feedback in the chat. Have any of you applied yet? Gone into the system to apply yet? Just yes, no. So no. Okay. So YB, so Sydney, you've gone in. I'm okay. So maybe you'll have some comments on me. So one of the things I just want to identify in here. By the way, my name is Edmund Del Sol. I'm the chair, and I would normally allow Naj to do the entire presentation, but she is new and she's not familiar with the system, and we've made some changes. So, sorry, I just knocked my camera off stride. So I want to sort of come in here today and make sure that you are clear on what it is that we're doing. So if you apply in the system today, you will be applying in the old system, but we have sort of changed the application requirements, and therefore I kind of want to make identify what those distinctions are. Now, we still have some donors who, because they give money, say, here are the expectations we have, and the expectations they have line up with the old method. So we're kind of really in transition. And if you have any questions, use the link on the website, scholarships@bbpa.org, and fire the questions. They will go to Naj, and if she has any questions, she'll come to me, we'll clarify them for you, and go right back to you, okay? So don't be confused, please. Send your questions to us. Let's go to the next slide, please, Naj. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is what the old system looked like. You used to have to do a number of things, which is to complete the details online, get a transcript from your school, write a personal statement, and in the system, there was a template to submit your income statement. These four things remain. The letters of reference, the academic letters of reference, the community letters of reference, we have taken them out as a normal part of the application. Okay, so the normal application no longer requires them. We're asking you to do something a little bit differently. However, there are some donors who say we still want to see these things. And so my advice to you is to read the application properly. And if you have any doubt, get your reference letters and put them there. So the reference letters will not hurt you, even if you don't need them. But if you do need them, they should be there, all right? And down at the bottom, you see that the income statement template is embedded in the system. So let's go through each of these in detail so you can understand clearly what you have to do. Next slide, please, Nash. So here's a picture of the whole thing. You have, you were required to submit 8 pieces. That's the old system, which you require for some applications. So it's 3 parts: an academic profile, a statement of personal need, and a statement of community service. That's kind of the 3 blocks of things you're doing, because these are the 3 blocks of things by which we evaluate you. And the scoring generally is 50% academic, 30% personal need, and 20% community profile. So those 3 things are how we've scored you in the past. How we've simplified it, all we're asking you to do right now is to send your transcript. In a personal statement, we've kind of enlarged the personal statement. We're saying write a little bit more, and I'll tell you what to include in there. you still have to do the financial worksheet. So for a normal scholarship application, all you have to do is to complete your application details in the system, offer an academic transcript, offer your personal statement, and provide a financial worksheet. And that should be enough for your application, unless there is a donor that says, we want to see the reference letters, okay? So let's go through each of the pieces in turn just to see how they've been modified. It's the same story, but we'll just elaborate a little more. Next slide, please, Naj. Sorry, I'm not sure why my lighting has gone. The sun is behind me, so it just has really messed things up. Sorry, it's not good for. Oh, here we go. I look a little more civilized. So let's go to the yeah. So these are the 8 things we've identified. The things in gray we've taken out because we are no longer requiring them as a normal part of the application. Next slide, please, Naj. Keep going. So get the academic transcript. Number 1, complete your profile in the system. That will be all the things that have to do with your address, your date, your school, age, which high school you went to, which college you're going to, what program you're in, the length of the program, all of these kinds of details. That's what we want to see in the system. The system has a room for this. And the second thing is you get a transcript. Now, you can take the transcript as a picture or as a PDF and send it to us. Normally, schools like to send the transcript directly from them to us, bypassing you. We're trying to make it easy that if you can get the transcript yourself and put it into your application, that makes it a lot faster. So we don't have to worry about whether all of your documents got there. You now have control. Okay, so that's the one piece we look for from you for your academic transcript. The second piece is, click on it, Naj. Instead of the academic letter of reference, in your personal statement, we're asking you to just write a little bit about your academic motivations. Okay, so we've simplified the application process. You no longer need to go get an academic reference letter or 2 reference letters. We're just asking you to write something about your motivations in your personal statement of need. Let's go to the next slide, please. The personal statement, we've kind of expanded it a little bit because it's now doing the job of the original personal statement, the original academic reference letter, and the original community reference letter, right? So we've now kind of collapsed all things into one. So you will write a 2 to 3 page letter, no more than 500 words. Our view is that whatever you need to say, you should be able to say it in 500 words. Adiola, I'll get to your question just now. And again, if you're going after a higher value scholarship, my advice would be to put more thought and effort into writing that statement, because we are going to be grading people, not grading, but rating people or evaluating people a little more rigorously when we move up the line. There is a personal statement guide in the system. If it's not there, Naj will be posting it. And it basically tells you how to go about writing this. So there is an aid in the system, and they'll see a link for it. And it kind of tells you what to think about when you write a personal reference letter. So we've given you those details in the system. And my advice to you, even to Sydney, would be to go back and read that and be sure that the personal statement you've put in reflects it. The way the system is designed is that you can always update your information. If, as we're speaking here, you hear something that you think, oh, I didn't do this, you can go back into the system and update your application, okay? And this is the point I just made. Look for your personal statement guide, and it should include a discussion of your academic motivations and your community service. Let's go to the last piece, community service. What have you done in the community? We want to see that you've been an active person, because we're looking to give scholarships to a wide range of people, not just the smartest people. So if you have been a very active and constructive community contributor, that helps you. So write it out well. Now, it has to be truthful. I'll get to the issue of truthfulness in a while. So you are now doing this for yourself instead of getting a community reference letter. So feature that well in your application, and it cannot be paid work. Okay, very clear distinction. We draw a hard line on this. Your community service could not have been paid work. So if you worked for a government agency in social services, but you were paid to do this as a summer job, that's not community service. All right, that's one clear distinction we make. So these really are the three pieces. And just to summarize them, if we go to the next slide, Naj, just to summarize them, your application checklist should include your personal details, your transcript, your personal statement, and your income statement, right? And for those scholarships that still want you to submit a reference letter, you will have to get an academic reference letter and a community reference letter. But if you don't care about those scholarships, you should be fine. And do very closely watch the deadline. I think Naj gave you the deadline earlier on. So let's move to the next one. So the application process, 4 important steps. Know everything involved, and we just discussed them. Complete each part according to the guidelines. One of the problems we see, because I am the person who brings the judges together to do the evaluations, is that we see many incomplete applications, and we don't have a choice when we're looking at, we normally split them into batches of about 25 and 30 and give them to teams to look at. When they're going through that batch, they have no choice. If there's somebody has a very well completed application and somebody has a good application but missing parts, I mean, guess which one floats to the surface, right? So do complete everything and submit that complete application. And if you do need those reference letters, follow up with the people after you ask them. We also have another guide, which is what should a reference letter look like? So my advice to you, if you need a reference letter, is become an active participant in helping to get the letter. Just as an FYI, I also teach in a community college, and people come to me for reference letters, and we see hundreds of students, right? So although you will see the face and you'll recognize the person, you kind of have to go like, remind me please, which class, what year, and what did we do, to kind of get the teacher going. So part of that is your job. The better you can go to them and say, hey, I took this class of yours that year, this is what we did, this is what I did. It helps them, it triggers the thought process, and it makes it a lot easier for the person writing you the reference letter. And just that alone already helps you. Just make it easy for people. Don't give people too much work to do. Help them as much as you can, okay? Let's go to the next slide, please. So this is not something you hear very often, but it may come as a surprise to you. In most competitions, in job applications too, your number one rule is not to get the thing or to win. If you look at any show on reality TV, if you look at The Biggest Loser, if you look at, job interviews, wherever you go, the first thing they do is to look at the pile and cut it down because they don't know who is the best. People have this idea, let me try to win in the first strike. No, it's not. Your first order of business is not to be eliminated. If you look at Olympics, you can see they have different heats, and the purpose of the heats are to eliminate people. And when you have that final cut, from that final cut will come a winner. So your job, by the way, and take this with you in life, I'm giving you a little bit of business advice, every round of competition you're in, your job isn't to win the competition, your job is to stay alive. So avoid elimination. And that's the point I was just making. We will have to cut people, but don't make it so easy to cut your application out. We'd like you to be one of the successful ones, so complete the application as thoroughly as possible. Okay, let's move on. We have seen a couple of worrisome signals that there are people who may not be as straight up with us as we would like them to be. And I include this here. This is a problem going on in Queen's University down the road from us right now. There are actual professors who claim to have indigenous backgrounds, and they probably don't. It's under investigation, right? And that is now a problem for the university because the university assumed that these professors would have been honest about whether or not they had indigenous roots, because that comes with certain advantages. And so these things come back and bite you in the butt very, very badly in life, okay? So we at the BBPA, we reserve the right to examine and claw back money if we think the application was dishonest. And as we see signs that some people may not be truthful with us, we're tightening the processes. I don't want any of you here to be one of those people, but I need to put this out there because we also, if you notice earlier on, I skipped over it, but we're asking for your social insurance number too. And we have to have your social insurance number because we're giving you money and the government of Canada wants to know that. It becomes a taxable issue. So it is a very, very serious matter when you're applying for funds like this, to be upfront, to be transparent, to be authentic, and to be honest. And I want to kind of make that a very, very clear point for all the people who are applying here, okay? Next slide, please. So here, one of our problems is the attendance here tonight. We actually want to have a lot more people because we have scholarships we'd like to give away. So one of the things I'd like you, Rosie and Adiola and Sydney, to do for me is to help us to build traffic. So discuss this with your colleagues, post it on social media, take it to your school, your classes. We're all on Zoom, so post in your class chat, ask your teachers permission, and they will all agree. By the way, if I am in a class and somebody says I'd like to talk about this, I will actually give them time. So don't hesitate to approach your teachers. Do it politely, do it professionally, but say I'd like to talk about this and raise awareness about it. And in the places you hang out online, in your sports, in your entertainment forums, build news about this, okay? Because we do want to see more and more people coming into this. Let's go to the, okay, so now we're into questions. I'll go to your questions and I'll come back to these. Adiola asks, is a scholarship only for students who are graduating from high school this year? No, it's not. It's for people who may already be in university and continuing in university. We give scholarships to people going from undergrad to master's level, to postgrad level training. So once you meet the qualifications, we will be fine with giving you a scholarship, okay? If you still have a question, guys, as I'm answering, please let me know. Is it okay if the letters are more than one page? It's not a problem. Your own statement, your personal statement, should be about 2 to 3 pages. The reference letters you get can be longer than 1 page. I try, when I write them for people, to write it on 1 page. I think what I'm saying about them, I can do on 1 page. And just as a general rule, by the way, writing short, good stuff is a lot harder than writing long stuff, okay? So because it's long doesn't necessarily mean it's better. When I write letters of recommendation for the people reading them to kind of get, wow, and get it very, very quickly. So I make my letters of reference 1 page, but if it's longer than 1 page, don't worry about that. That's not a hindrance. Ask me questions, please, as we're here. So another question came up. Do you need to submit multiple applications if you're interested in different scholarships? The answer is no. You will submit 1 application. What you should do is, in the personal statement, you can introduce yourself and say, I'm applying for these scholarships, right? So identify them in your personal statement. The one thing I urge you to do if you're applying for multiple scholarships is to be sure that if some of them say you need reference letters, to have those reference letters, all right? So if the most demanding scholarship should dictate how you apply. So the most demanding one is what you should try to meet. And if you can meet the requirements of the most demanding scholarship, you'll be good for all the others. Is there a French application process for French-speaking individuals? We are in the process of converting these, and we will do it manually. It will be outside of the system. So there will be a link to French documents. You will download those, submit your application manually, and send it to us manually, because the system today is not designed for French application. Does it matter where you reside in Canada? The answer is no. We are a national scholarship program, and we'd like all Black youth across Canada to have access to it and be able to help Black youth wherever they are in Canada. Does the BBPA scholarship extend to students studying overseas? That is that's a problem we face, and we handle these on a case-by-case basis. For most programs, we're able to get quality Canadian education. Second, for most programs, when you go overseas, the cost goes up. So it doesn't necessarily mean we'll give you more money, but you are taking a higher priced option. It kind of distorts your finances a little bit. But we have given to people who've gone overseas. But there has to be a case why you're doing this overseas to justify us giving money to scholars going overseas. As an example, somebody went to the Juilliard School. Now, it was a huge bill. We could only give a tiny part of what the person needed, but every penny helps. And we gave, I think we contributed money to that scholarship as well. Okay. Any other questions? Any thoughts come to mind? Mac, if you're there, and Naj, Francis, any thoughts? Anything you guys want to add?
No, everything looks good so far.
Okay. All right, so let's go to the wrap-up slide, Naj, and then Rosie, Adiola, and Sydney. We don't want to keep you guys. again, if you have questions, come back to us via the email. And we said we're going to have another one of these on the 30th of June. One of the plans I have then is to bring a notable Black leader in the educational field to talk to our audience. So we really want more young Black people here listening to this, because we're really trying to make it possible for a lot more of our Black youth to achieve their dreams through higher education. And we welcome your support in building publicity about these events. Okay? Thank you for your attention. I'll hand you back to Naj to wrap us up.
Wait, sorry, I just had a quick question.
Oh, sorry, who's Sydney?
This,
Oh yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
Sydney.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm just confused. Is the website updated of where to submit the other materials? So like if I submit everything on the portal, what else do I have to submit? Like just the statement? It's just the personal statement? Like I'm confused as to where we're supposed to submit this stuff.
The portal should be able to take everything. The portal will take your online application, and it has the arrangement for documents. So everything can be put into the portal.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, we welcome the questions. We don't want you to leave anything to doubt.
Any more questions?
Naj, take it away, please.
All right, so thank you so much for everybody for attending our first town hall meeting. Our next town hall meeting will be held June 30th, I believe, right, Edmund? I believe, yes, June 30th is around the same time, held from 6 o'clock to 8 or 7? 7 to 8,
7.
yes, 7 to 8. So please share with anybody who you know is needs these type of resources. It's readily available for anybody that's looking towards a post-secondary education, high school students, someone that's already in college or university. So please share this with everybody as much as you can so we can get more people in. All right, thank you so much for attending.
Sorry, Naj, just the website is scholarships or bbpa.org. Maybe type it in the site, Naj, and Damilola. We're just wrapping up Damilola. There's a recording of this you'll be able to hear, but we're also having another town hall on the 30th. Okay.
I added the link.
There's a link. Okay. Sorry, Naj, for interrupting. I just thought we needed to.
All right, so I added the link too as well, so you can read much more everything about that on the site. So thank you so much. Any more questions? Even if you have any more questions, you can email programs@bbpa.ca.org, I believe.
Well, let's for this now. Let's stick to scholarships.
Scholarship. Okay.
Scholarships because programs, we have a lot of other programs. Let's just stick
All
to
right.
scholarships.
I can write that into
at bbpa.org for that one. Yeah, put it in there as well.
All right. So thank you so much for attending, and we'll see you guys.
Naj, can you type the email before we break, just for them, so they have it?
Just typing in right now.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
Scholarships@bbpa.org.
Thanks, Naj. Well done. I look forward to joining you guys again on the 30th.
All right. Thank you.
That was the program
Thank you.
director, Frances Del Sol, talking.
Yeah, she knows me.
What I was saying for the benefit of the audience.
Okay.
Okay, Naj. Thanks, everyone. Hope we'll see you again on the 30th.
Take care. Bye-bye, guys.